So it's nice to be here for the weekend. It's always nice to be guest, you know. So you're treated well, right? But recently someone told me that you shouldn't stay more than 3 days. It's like a fish. After 3 days, the guest stinks. So that's my plan. I'm not going to stay in any places, not more than 3 days. So nice to meet you all. Especially I see some of my old friends. Then, you know, to practice is very important because we have this mind, and by now we know that how this mind plays very important role in our being. Forget about the success or whatever, even just the physical health is being proven by modern science also, like your state of your mind affects your physical body. So I always like to say science, and I told you many times why I do that was long time ago. Lama says that. People say, it's my Lama's word, I cannot question. And now, if nowadays look like Lama says that, did Lama really say that? Did he really mean it? Or if one scientist found out and said, no question being asked, because you are afraid that you will be called as a medieval, like a caveman. And so that's why I try to, sneak in here and there and try to read all those social medias so that I want to sound scientific. To update myself. That's my excuses of browsing all those internets. So anyhow, and during the empowerments, I cannot joke, right? I'm trying to be a Vajrasattva, and Vajrasattva doesn't joke. So that's why I like teachings, so that you can joke, right? And at least give you the best medicine, the laughter. When you say the laughter is the best medicine, that doesn't mean that you have to go out in the forest and just laugh, That's the result. Main thing is it should come from your heart, right? And then laugh. Then that's what the medicine looks like. Not just ha 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 becomes a medicine. And now we are going to study or go through this medicine Buddha practices, so which is a medicine. So the biggest laughter, the healing comes through this medicine Buddha, laughter. So if you want to become medicine Buddha, so you have to laugh, This is how he became Buddha, and we too try to follow his footsteps. So anyhow, the medicine Buddha practice and why we are doing this and all this, always try to keep in mind, like as I was, where we do a little bit of prayer in the very beginning, is to remind us about this teaching, the authenticity of the teaching, and then how these teachings can be practiced properly is by remembering the lineage masters, their kindness, and the second thing is to change our motivation. Why we are doing this medicine Buddha. Including myself, sometimes when I get sick or when I want to do this and that practice, I rarely think about other sentient beings, even though it's coming out from my mouth, not from my heart. So it should really come from your heart. Try to change, whatever I do. So at least I'll think about benefiting others. So that's something very important. Bodhicitta is so very important. We need to, it's very difficult to cultivate, but very, very important. Without bodhicitta, we cannot go anywhere. Without bodhicitta, you cannot practice medicine Buddha just for your healing. So if you want to just go for your self-healing, better go and see a doctor, Better go and see a psychiatrist. Better go and, So try to have that bodhicitta as much as you can. And in addition to that, then cultivating the devotion, the trust. So these are very important, Of all, I have said to you many times, in our mind, two things are important: devotion to the three jewels, compassion towards the sentient beings. These two things are very, very important. And then we don't have enough. I don't have enough compassion. I don't have this faith and all this, But it is something that if we try, can change. It doesn't come automatically. It should be trained. It should be, perfected through trainings. So that's why we are trying to do all these practices. And then recently, I was, in Canada and some other. So very sad news was that, and there was a practitioner who was practicing maybe about since 80s. So he gave up practicing, and in addition to that, he's saying that Buddhism doesn't work, especially Vajrayana doesn't work for him. Then I was always thinking that how come, sometimes I also feel that it doesn't work for me, Nothing changes, It doesn't work for me. But then to really work or not is to see that what your teachings say, and then what you are doing, and compare that. Then you can come to a conclusion that this teaching works for you or this teaching doesn't work for you. If the teaching says you have to practice, let's say, forget about 8 hours a day, 1 hour a day, and if you do 10 minutes a day, then you cannot complain that this text doesn't work, You're doing what percent? So 10 of 60 is what? Which percent? 20%? A little bit more? So can anyone do the math? One-sixth. That's very the best math ever. So if you do 1/6 and complain that you don't get the 60-60 result, who is to be blamed? And then Mipham Rinpoche says that, when we pray to Guru Rinpoche, it's just a lip service. Dijum Rinpoche says that it's just the lip service. So lip service works for politicians. Lip service works for your clients. If you're a doctor, engineer, or any kind of business. But lip service doesn't work for Buddhists. That's something that you need to understand. So whatever prayer that you do should come from your heart, not from your mouth. If it just comes from your mouth, then it's just, up there only, not here. So if you are able to make that, then it will work. Definitely it will work. No doubt, no question. So these are something that we need to think about, and try to understand. It's very, very important. So, and if the prayer comes from your heart, then there's no question that it will help transform. But that takes time, to really come from your heart takes time. Either you should be really sick, terminal illness. Even that also sometimes doesn't bring the prayer from your heart. We just, when you, let's say that when you're sick, how many of us will think about either popping, what's that, aspirin, or remember your Lama, and remember the medicine Buddha? What comes first in your? So I think, including myself, I just think about popping some painkiller and then do it. I never think about medicine Buddha first. And then afterwards, then when I have some time, I've done with all my social media things. And then I think, oh, maybe instead of popping this, painkiller, I should pray to my Lama. I should pray to Guru Rinpoche. I should pray to Medicine Buddha. So if it is the third or fifth or sixth thought that is coming up in your mind, that means it's not really in your heart. It's somewhere circling, hovering around your heart. So any prayers, any practices should try to make it like really come from your heart. And to do that, of course, we have to, as I always joke to you guys now many, many times, it doesn't happen automatically. So I repeat what you guys say, fake it until you make it, right? So what you can do is then just whether it is really coming from your heart or not, just do it with your mouth, and then afterwards, then from the mouth it may go deeper, 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 and then one day it will be there at the heart, If it comes from the heart up, is very good. If not, then the mouth down. Okay, so these are the two. Heart up, mouth down. So this is the formula. So something very important, Otherwise, there are chances that we may also think in the same way. Sometimes I also think, maybe it's not working. So that kind of things happen, and especially it will happen when you're, kind of about to accomplish something. Like Buddha, a very good example, when Buddha was about to get enlightened. So Maras, whether it be outside or inside, doesn't really matter. He knew that the left wing is winning or right wing is winning, and then the left wing or right wing try all their resources to cut down on the left or right or whatever, doesn't matter. So like that, when your good things come up, so the negativities also get stirred up because they want to stop you from achieving that kind of an accomplishment. So that is the time that we should be aware that, oh, this is the obstacle. This is the obstacle. Just wait. It's not me. It's just the voice that I'm hearing. And keep on practicing, and then you'll be able to go over that. Otherwise, that is a big, obstacle that we may be facing. So watch for it. It will come to any one of us for sure. It's just a matter of time. Then what Dzongsa Khyentse Rinpoche says is, Dharma practice is not for happiness. If you feel awful, that means you are practicing Dharma. This is what he says. So if you want to feel awful, you have to come to KPC every day. Then I wrote that on my Facebook or in one of my social medias, and one guy said, oh, I'm feeling awful, I should be practicing. Then I said, after a nice dinner, do you feel awful? If you feel awful after a nice dinner, that means the Dharma is working. So awfulness is not like when things go down, when your ordinary things, life go down. Everyone feels awful. You don't have to practice Dharma, Awfulness means whatever happens in you, even the goodness, Even let's say you had the best vacation ever, and then afterwards you come, if you are a true Dharma practitioner, you come back feeling awful. Thinking that I have wasted my time, I forgot my practice, I forgot my Lama, I forgot all this because of all these distractions in the vacation. So then afterwards, if you feel awful, that kind of awfulness, this is what Dzongsa Khyentse is talking about. Not when someone frowns at you and you feel awful. Everybody feels that, You don't have to train to become Dharma. You don't have to come to KPC to feel that kind of awfulness. So that's something, again, I think a very good instruction. No? I like him in many ways. He's kind of a little bit sarcastic. He's kind of like, keeping you on your toes. And then all these books, there are many critics online, and I like it, he's the guy there to steer you up, not just the normal way of thinking, oh, bodhicitta, compassion. He just steers you up, So, like that, always try to think is something very, very important. And today we'll be going through this medicine Buddha practice as much as I can. And so to make myself look kind of Americanized, so I brought my laptop, So anyhow, so when this medicine Buddha started, the beginning of this medicine Buddha practice, it says that it goes, I'm using this text, I don't know, maybe it's not translated. I'll go through a little bit here and there. So medicine Buddha text, practice text written by 5th Dalai Lama, which is kind of compiling, and then gives some important topic. Okay, before that, let me turn off my Wi-Fi. Okay, so what it is saying is now, first to understand, how this practice started is important. So you have to know the history. So the history says, he says that it started when Buddha Shakyamuni was giving the teachings. So when Buddha Shakyamuni was giving the teaching, so that time, according to him, then Manjushri, when he was seated and about to give the teaching, so in all the sutras, nowadays you can go on, was that 84,000, and then see that many of these sutras are translated, so I usually say that if you are practicing Dharma in 1980s, then you can complain that, oh, there's no enough resources in English. Now you cannot complain that. Definitely you cannot. If you have time, there are lots of books out there, lots of sutras being translated. So you have no excuses that, it's not translated, And one thing about the Dharma is, if Medicine Buddha Sutra is not translated, it's okay. There are other sutras translated, and then by reading those sutras, then whatever understanding you have to implement that in any of your teachings. It's not like you have to read only this one thing, All these Dharma are all interrelated, and you can read any Dharma book, any translation to deepen your understanding and to, to do these practices to the best you can. So he says that now maybe it's from Medicine Buddha Sutra. So Manjushri stood up, and then it was the tradition long time ago, is not being practiced anymore these days. So to request the teaching, is said that in many sutras, then whoever is requesting the sutra does 3 prostrations and go around Buddha 3 times, and then kneel down and make the request. So there then is Manjushri is saying that who made this request, and then as per the request of Manjushri, then Buddha Shakyamuni taught these teachings. So he said that in future, so he wasn't thinking about himself when Manjushri was asking Buddha Shakyamuni to teach on Medicine Buddha Sutra. He said that in future, at the end of 500, usually this is seen in many of our teachings, like at the end of 500. It doesn't really mean exactly 500 years. It means just in future, after many, many hundreds or centuries. So during that time, then is saying that then when when the people have more kind of afflictive emotion, more problems and all this, so how they should practice. So he's saying that so that time he knew that we will not have enough time to practice. He said that just by hearing the name of the Buddhas can have that healing power. And then not only the healing of your health, but also in this case, especially in Buddhism, then we have these three poisons, right? So these three poisons are our inner kind of sickness. And because of this inner sickness, then that develops into the physical ailments. So, and then he said that even so, to let these beings to the freedom from all these external ailments and inner ailments, then so teach us about the medicine Buddha. And then that time, then Buddha Shakyamuni taught the medicine Buddha on the seven, or seven means now the retinue. Usually you say that eight medicine Buddhas. So then he asked the Buddha Shakyamuni to teach on it, and then so that time, then then why medicine Buddhas have this healing power is saying that because of their aspiration prayer that they did when they were bodhisattvas. So whoever hear my name, then may they experience this healing power. May they be never born in the three lower realms. May all this breaking of the samaya, breaking of the vows be perfected, be purified, be amended, be, like perfected, and all this just by hearing the name. So this is how they make the aspiration prayer. And then it's also saying that by this may all your karmic obscuration be purified, and and all your wishes be fulfilled. And then when this teaching was given, it said that all those 12 the kings or the lord of all these Nyojin, yakshas or the evil spirits, also then they pledge that they will protect those who are practicing on this sutra. And so like that, and all this again, the Brahma, Indra, and the gods also vowed to be the protector, and the four kings of the four directions also accepted that they are going to protect the teachings, that whoever is practicing in that way. So then this medicine Buddha sutras of the three turnings, then it belongs to the third turning, the medicine Buddha sutra. In that way, I think I don't know how many sutras are there, so I have to still check. But then there are medicine Buddha sutras. So by reading them, then it brings all this healing power. They have that power or the ability to heal. And that healing is also, then sometimes we feel that, oh, my health is good. I just went to see my doctor, and then my blood sugar is good, my blood pressure is good, my everything is perfect. I don't have any problem. That's not the case. Why so is because you may have read words of my perfect teacher. So there it says how you listen to your the teaching is saying that you have to have these four thoughts, right? To see yourself as a patient, right? And then to see the Dharma as medicine, to see the Buddha as the doctor, to see the Dharma practices as the way of taking the medicine and going through all those treatments. So every one of us, whether be young, old, or whether we have any signs of sickness or no signs of sickness, so we are talking about this sickness in a sense that our mind is diluted with these three poisons. And then these three poisons create all these sufferings, all this pain, all physical and mental problems, issues that we have, comes from that. So understanding that is again another very important point. And finally, again, when you are looking at it, we should see something different, especially being a Mahayana and Vajrayana practitioner, is we are not saying that these three poisons are the nature of your mind. That's something that which we need to understand. They are just there out there hanging out with your mind, but they are not the nature of your mind. Nature of your mind is pure. Nature of your mind is enlightened. Nature of your mind is medicine Buddha. So that is something you need to understand, that the pure, your essence, your true essence is pure, and whatever you're experiencing just now is temporary. It's the work of all those enzymes and hormones that are there in your brain. Not you. Again, Dzongzal Khenpo makes a very important point. To believe that we are pure, have that conviction, is very difficult again. To believe that these three poisons are just there temporarily is very difficult again. To come to that kind of a conclusion that these three poisons are there temporarily would bring you a biggest relief ever, that you have ever experienced. Just now we are not having that kind of a belief, including myself. I don't believe my emotions are kind of, there temporarily. I feel that every day, sometimes almost every second of it, It has become me, But then understanding that, these are there temporarily, these are there just conditioned. If I work with them, definitely I can, overcome them. So you must have that kind of an confidence. If you have that kind of an confidence, then you will not have any kind of mental issues. You will not have any kind of depressions, because you know that it will go away from you. And also, if you know that your mind is pure, your nature of your mind is pure, definitely then it will give you an extra boost to that understanding that, I can do that, So that's something that we need to understand, and we need to kind of, try our best to get there. So anyhow, when we are doing this kind of practices, then to understand again from where it started, right? It started from Buddha Shakyamuni all the way until it came to Tibet. Then he's saying that how it started in Tibet. So in Tibet, when Guru Rinpoche came, then the great abbot, Shantarakshita, or Khenchen Bodhisattva. So he came to Tibet, and that time, when after the completion of building the first monastery in Tibet, Sangye monastery. So it said that to bring peace in the country and to extend the life of the king, Tenzin Norgay, the Dharma king. So he started to the tradition of doing this medicine Buddha practice according to the sutra. So there are two ways of doing medicine Buddha practice. This one is according to the Vajrayana. I think Changme Rinpoche even says not only according to the Vajrayana, he says that I think that according to Dzogchen also. And you can do it in a sutra way. Sutra way is kind of lengthy. You have to do 7-line prayer, a 7-branch prayer again and again here and there, lots of offering. So it's kind of boring. It's too lengthy. If it's too lengthy, then it becomes kind of, you ran out of caffeine. And if it's too short, then it's so quick, then you don't get what you're saying, right? So we have this issue. If it's too long, it's also an issue. If it's too short, it's an issue. If intermediate, then you don't want to practice. So anyhow, he started this. And then he said that, he did this with this, especially on the 8th day of the lunar calendar. That's the Medicine Buddha day. So if you do that, and then also, I think he did this, there was a grand tradition of having this Medicine Buddha practice on the, I think the miracle month, the first month of the Tibetan lunar calendar. So that time, then they had in some way, starting from the advent of Buddhism in Tibet. So this tradition was there. And then he said that when he did this kind of practice started, so then there was peace, and even that the king had long life, and he became very popular, and his country also expanded. And then there was good, bountiful harvest. And then either to the human beings or to the livestock, there was no kind of plague, sickness, and even the Dharma also flourished. And at that time, then Tibet became so rich and peaceful, and it was almost like like the God realm of the 33 abodes. So, but then afterwards, what happened is now, then the king saw that this practice is so important of all these different sutras which were translated. So he cherished this Medicine Buddha Sutra that he said that he wrote this on the silver plates with gold and the lapis lazuli, having one line was gold, one line was written by the ink of lapis lazuli. So it was written like that, and then it was put in a very beautiful, the box with all those ornaments, and that was his main kind of object of refuge. It's not like us. I don't know how you guys take care of your Dharma books. I just throw it anywhere, And nowadays, I don't want to even buy all those Dharma books. I try to digitize and just put it in my, in my gadgets. So that's easy way to, take care. And anyhow, that was the care that, that they took it, how to respect that, to respect the teachings, and they respect the sutra. I don't know whether I should say it or not. Usually in our monasteries, to, if you go to the library, and then if you look at the cover of our books, they are made out of only plain cotton. If you look at the Lama's clothes, they are all silk. And then maybe with nowadays, even what's that, the brand, high-end brandings. So in all our lamas are also in their high-end, what you call that, fashion, brands. And then all these Dharma books are just ordinary cotton, So this is our attitude. But then King Tenzin Norgay was not like that. He put the best of the best to offer to the Dharma. Then it says that afterwards, then this medicine Buddha practice in Tibet became like a royal practice, and it became like also a royal lineage. And then it was passed on. It's saying that to his sons. And then when the King Lang Dharma, who didn't like Buddhism, wanted to destroy that, right? Then one of his son, looks like, then saw this, then the casket, I don't know, and then he asked what it is, and then he thought, oh, this is so sacred, and then he started to started the practice again. And like that, all these practitioners, when they pass away, so they had all these wonderful signs. It's saying that when this son, Yesung Chungwa, is called the junior Yesung. So when he passed on, so on his skull, it said that there was a clear picture of the medicine Buddha, which is scientifically not possible, right? I can see some doctors, raising their eyebrows and thinking, not possible. But that's why it's called magic, When you have no answer, then it's called magic. And what you guys say is energy. That's, I think, I say that Westerners' tricky way of using that terminology, energy. When you have no explanation, you say, "I feel the energy." What kind of an energy is it? And there's no answer. No, I feel good energy. Oh, nice. Oh, it's just just nothing. No, and you don't have to say. You just say, "I feel the energy," and then people don't question. Oh, I feel the energy. What's that? Very good way of deceiving people. Anyhow, so these are the blessing. It doesn't mean that was there when he was alive. All those images you read from, like when the lamas leave this kind of an sign of accomplishment. That doesn't mean that when they were alive, there was all this medicine Buddha's statue being carved, or what you call that nowadays. There's a way of saying that. When you want your iPad to have your name, what's that called? Engrave, yeah. So when he was saying one medicine Buddha mantra, so a little bit was engraving. Another medicine Buddha, and then finally, after many recitation, so one medicine Buddha's image came on his skull. It's not like that. So during the time of death, so he was in his mind, there was nothing but medicine Buddha's thought. That's something very important. How you die, especially the last minute, whatever is your main practice, be medicine Buddha, Vajrasattva, or whatever. So in your mind, so there should be nothing, or your root teacher, so there should be nothing but that deity. When about dying, teachings about dying is saying that if you are a the generation stage practitioner, so you should be generating your deity that as a main focus. If you are a completion stage meditation practitioner, then your mind should be doing whatever kind of, the Tögel or Take Three instructions that you receive. So that has to be in your mind when you die. Nothing else, Not thinking about whether you wrote your will properly. So who gets what, and all this. Worrying about your pain, worrying about, oh, this person didn't come to see me. This person being a beautiful flower to me. This person's flower was not nice, and all these kind of crazy things, going on. So like that, why all these signs were shown, I like that in many of these teachings is saying that, sometimes not only one medicine Buddha, so in their skull or all this, there were 8 medicine Buddhas appearing. And all those relics that you see, so all of these things happen at the time of death, at the time of death, the bardo of the death. So there, when your mind is being transformed, so all this appears as an external signs of accomplishments. And like that, there are many, many signs, which I'm just going through, briefly. And then some even had a vision of going to the medicine Buddha, Pure Land, and then teachings and all this. So like that, when your mind gets purified, then your outer world, whatever you experience, will be purified. If it is not purified, even if someone is able to, through power, if someone is able to kick you up in Dewachen, you'll fall back, because your mind is kind of, you came to Dewachen to make Dewachen dirty. And so then, of course, Buddha Amitabha has compassion, but then you'll just fall back just because of your karma. So to purify our mind is important, And like that, then when they did this medicine Buddha practice, and there was a bumpa, and then they chanted this medicine Buddha's mantra and the sutras, then afterwards, then just that time there was no other medicine, There was no antibiotics, they were not. So they used this as everything, to purify, to heal, not only your inner kind of the sickness, also the outer sickness. And then it's saying that there was one person who had leprosy, and then just by washing with this water being prepared through medicine Buddha practices, so after some time, then the person got healed. So all these things happened through the magic. I say, put the word magic is through devotion, trust. If you don't trust, nothing will work for us. Confidence. Sometimes when I watch all those, the sports, looks like the main thing is they teach their sportsmen to have confidence. Like if you are a basketball player, you have to shoot the ball with confidence. If you have, I can score it, I cannot score it, hesitation, then even just playing an ordinary sports doesn't work. Forget about Dharma. So when you do that, then you need to have that devotion, have, that kind of the devotion that you is. Then and how you can generate this devotion is again by reflecting the the qualities of the Buddhas, like I said now, Dangvi, that clear, I think it has that vivid devotion, which is like when you hear the names of the Buddha, their enlightened qualities, and as I was saying, all this kind of signs of accomplishment, then you feel that, you have that sense of awness. It's so good, And after that, then after having that, this person did that, why can't I? The next thing is, then you have that longing that you too want to do that. So that's called the longing devotion. It is possible. Then if you keep on practicing afterwards, then your devotion becomes irreversible. That means it is so strong. I usually say that even if Buddha comes and tell you that you are doing something wrong, you'll be able to say it, with confidence, oh Buddha, no, I'm doing it correctly. You must have that kind of confidence, not like if Buddha comes, you say, oh, maybe I'm doing wrong. No? That means you have no confidence. So even if Buddha comes and tell you that you're wrong, so you should be able to stand up and say, I'm doing it right, no matter what, because you know that you're doing it right. So that kind of confidence that you have is called the irreversible devotion. That time, nobody can, mislead you. Nobody can trick you. Nobody can kind of deceive you, because you know that it is true. You know that there is logic behind it. You know there is experience behind it. You know there's a history behind it. So you will be confident no matter what. You will be grounded. So that's the kind of the devotion, again, very important, especially when you're practicing. Then the question comes that in that case, Buddha said that you don't take my words for granted, right? I have to question. Buddha gave me that permission. I have to utilize that. Then here you are saying, and in many of our texts, it's saying, no, you have to have devotion. So again, another puzzle that we have to, juggle. So how to get through that? I usually say that when you're studying, like say that you're not practicing, when you're on the chair, let me put it on the chair and on the cushion, okay? So when you're on the chair, on your rocking chair, with your Starbucks coffee, or any kind of coffee, Italian coffee, or whatever kind of coffee that you're drinking, and contemplating. So that time is saying that, even Buddha might have made mistake. Even Longchenpa might have made mistake. If you're reading a Longchenpa book, then you have to come that, maybe Longchenpa might have said wrong somewhere, Maybe, Buddha have said wrong somewhere. So I should find that loophole and beat Longchenpa, and I want to be smarter than Buddha. So that kind of an inquisitive. So you should have that kind of an understanding and contemplative thoughts, attitude. And then on your cushion, forget about all these thoughts, On your cushion, even the dog tooth is a relic. So that kind of shift you should have. Otherwise, if you keep on questioning, your inquisitive mind never stops. Because what's that? I think Nagarjuna said that, and Mipham Rinpoche in Beacon of Certainty also said that if you elaborate your mind, let your mind elaborate, it will keep on going, There's no end to it. So how to kind of compromise that is always the balance, When you're practicing, then you just focus on your practice without any kind of conceptual thoughts. When you're studying, then you have to bring all your conceptual thoughts and study, But I don't know about you guys. My mind is just the opposite, When I study, when I read the books, no thoughts come in my mind, But when I sit doing meditation, lots of thoughts come in my mind. It's just the opposite, Yeah. That's not the way it looks like. When you're sitting, you just sit and do the practice and all this. When you're contemplating, so you must be as smart as possible. Again, just to put in simple language. So when you're studying, you must be the smartest guy. And when you're practicing, you must be the foolish guy, the dummiest Buddhist that ever existed. That's why someone wrote, what's that? Buddhism for dummies, right? So in that way, if you study, practice, then one day they will merge together. Because they all mean same thing. Why you are studying is to develop devotion. Why you have devotion is to develop that wisdom. So wisdom and the devotion shouldn't contradict each other, will not contradict each other, will never contradict each other. So that way, with devotion trying to strengthen your wisdom, and with the wisdom trying to strengthen your devotion. So that's how they should work together. So that devotion part. So here he gives all these quotations, and one of these quotations is saying that, which is quoted everywhere, is saying that to a person who has no devotion, no white dharma, basically no positive things can grow in a person who has no devotion. And then giving an example, if the seed is being burned, how can you grow? So like that. And then he said that when Atisha Dibamkara came to Tibet, he went to a temple. Looks like in the temple there were many, either statues or the tankas of all these Buddhas, and then he wrote the praise to all of these Buddhas. And then of all this praise, when he was praising Medicine Buddha, then what he says is, he said that just by hearing your name, you will be able to clear the suffering of 3 lower realms. So what Fifth Dalai Lama is trying to say is, now in that case, Medicine Buddha kind of pops up. Of course, all Buddhas, and one thing I usually say is, all Buddhas have same realization, not like our ordinary thing. If someone is, a medical doctor, so can be a medical, or an engineer, or an electrical engineer, or whatever, then you cannot be the other guy, right? Unless you're extra smart, you have like 5, 6 kind of, all these trainings. So for the Buddhas, doesn't matter. Sometimes looks like only it is our mind that matters. So if I tell you that Buddha Shakyamuni can also heal you, you don't believe that. Because it's not Medicine Buddha, only Medicine Buddha can heal me. So if you have that kind of an attitude, then that doesn't work, So that's why Buddhas were skillful. They came up with one Buddha for almost every of the wants that we want, so that you feel that connection. So when you're sick, so most of us think about doing Medicine Buddha. We forget Guru Rinpoche, you forget your Dalai Lama, forget about it, and all this. But then like that. So if main thing is how you feel connected to the Buddha, and also the other thing is, when they were practicing as a bodhisattva, so what kind of an aspiration prayer that they made. So in that case, then they become kind of a little bit special than other Buddhas because of their aspiration prayer that they made. Now, focusing on one kind of an aspiration prayer. So then they became that Medicine Buddha, or the Buddha of healing. In Sanskrit, it looks like the King of Healings, which is translated in English as Medicine Buddha. Basically, Bekadze looks like means the King of the healers. So the best medicine man that you can get is Medicine Buddha. I don't know whether he can make you make shower or not. I have to text him, text to Medicine of Buddha and say, "Oh, can you, shower? Can you send some rain?" So here he's saying that in this degenerating time, as I just said, why it is so is because of the power of their aspiration prayer. So all those, then you can free yourself from the lower realms. And he's saying that even if you had some kind of a negative karma and you heard the name of Medicine Buddha's name, but because of that power, the force of that karma, you fell down in the three lower realms. And if you're able to remember Medicine Buddha, then you can jump up. Again, another important, I think, message. When we are really angry, how much of us is able to think about Dharma? I don't think about Dharma when I'm really angry, Maybe after one day or after 1 week, then I think, oh, maybe I should have thought about making some, praying to Guru Rinpoche or whatsoever. So that's when you're in real pain, physical pain. How many of us is able to really think about Medicine Buddha? As I said in the beginning, what was our first thought, second thought, third thought? So you can think about which position that Medicine Buddha gets, If it's around 5th or 6th, you're the best. Maybe he will be the 10th, From 1 to 10th. If it's the 10th, it's still good, But if you don't remember him at all, then it's a big problem. So like that. So how our habit. That's why in our Dharma practice it's called practice. So keeping ourselves reminding again and again, because we are so forgetful, especially with the Dharma, Other things we don't forget. If someone says something negative like 5-10 years ago, I can still remember that, Clearly, even the right timing, the right spot, how he said that, expression of his face, very clearly. But if I try to remember Guru Rinpoche, no, so fake, so kind of vague. So, again, why it is so is because we are not able to put an imprint in our mind, Even though we are trying to visualize ourselves as Guru Rinpoche, that imprint is very weak. I like to watch YouTubes, And then they were talking about how some of those people can remember things so fast, so quickly. And they said that when they want to remember something, they let's say one turn when they're driving. So if they don't want to make a mistake in the next, they think that there's something happened or there was a crazy monkey walking on that street or something, so that it puts a big imprint in your mind, and next time you remember, So I thought, oh, that's why, When someone fronts at you at 5 years ago, you could remember clearly because he was able to penetrate your mind. Guru Rinpoche, he's so relaxed, he's just there, always smiling. So his smile doesn't put an imprint in you. So when you meditate, he doesn't appear that clearly. Okay, so that's, oh, maybe I'm talking too much, yeah. Then he's saying that whatever kind of things that you want to, then can be fulfilled by practicing Medicine Buddha and all. So these are some of the benefits that are being taught, all these different quotations. So anyhow, as I said earlier, all those benefits can definitely happen to us. It just depends on how much concentration we had, how much of devotion to Medicine Buddha we had, how much of bodhicitta we had. So when all these right conditions are gathered, nobody can stop the result. And if the right causes and conditions are not there, no one can make the result happen. That's called the law of interdependence. That's the core philosophy of Buddhism. That's why I usually say that, looks like, every religion, I'm not criticizing, kind of believe in karma. Recently, someone told me that in Bible also it says, you reap what you sow, right? Something like that. And then other religions also saying that, do this, do that. But then I've maybe told you guys a few times, but in Buddhism, the difference is we don't need a third party. I say that we don't need a broker. In other religion, looks like you do something good and you have to wait, for the gate to open and then for you to be blessed. So there's a third party involvement, And in Buddhism, you don't need that. If you do something good, the gate will just open automatically. Like in those fairy tales, Aladdin's, right? So you just be there and say the mantra and then the gate will open for you. If you have done good, so all the gates would be of heaven or liberation will be open to you. You don't need a guardian angel to be pleased, And if you have not done something good, then there's no way you can bribe. There's no under-table things going in. So like that, so understanding that is very important. That everything, that's why, chanting this interdependent mantra is, in some of the teachings, is saying that it's so profound that is equal to reading all the Buddhist books, all the sutras, all the tantras. So you just say, so you have done reading the 84,000, Dharma. Right. Quick, right? That's why I say, Buddhism, to practice Buddhism is so flexible. You can just do it in one word, or you can read volumes and volumes and volumes. It just depends on how much of, your heart was really there or not. So that's what we need to do here also, Medicine Buddha. Maybe some of you guys have been practicing for so long, but how much it really came from your heart, how much of that time that you really did it, out of bodhicitta, out of devotion. So that counts. The same thing in Buddhism also, that counts, not the number. So all these numbers are there so that it is to help us to make a big imprint in us, by reciting, sometimes in the form of, visualizing Medicine Buddha, reciting the mantra in the form of mantra, and all this are just to, penetrate your mind with Medicine Buddha practices, Medicine Buddha's mindfulness. Somehow looks like the most fashionable, word nowadays is mindfulness. So instead of saying Medicine Buddha meditation, I should say Medicine Buddha mindfulness. So so these are some of the things that you need to understand. Very very important. Okay, so I'll just roughly go over this. Am I supposed to read the transmission or what? So, okay, and then I'll read the transmission and then go through this. So, the first one starts with the verses of 8 auspicious ones. This is written by Mipham Rinpoche, and he also has a commentary on it, and it says that, it's like praying to all Buddhas. Actually, there are 8 Buddhas, 8 Bodhisattvas, 8 offering goddesses, and 8 worldly beings, but that includes all enlightened beings. So only these 8 got their name, they got the main seat. And the rest, they are all there. They are there. So in that way, then you think that you're praying to all the Buddhas. Senzamdo Vetashi Beba Deva Shiba Jella Jadolo Jamation of Anton Genezo Homogeneous anymore. One was an Chanchu Samba Jella Chazolo and the Jambos and Young Malayan Tashi Hamajella Jazolo Zamajim, Middle than the Joy of the Mimis and the digital religion. So this is the 8 of prayer, and this is again the summary of one sutra known as Sutra of Auspiciousness. And then is in the 7-line prayer. So usually that is to invoke Guru Rinpoche and his blessing yourself, blessing the place where you are meditating, so that you feel that this place is, enchanted. Maybe it's like you're just kind of having what you call that, imagination. But then, what Guru Rinpoche said, what Buddha Shakyamuni said is, if you think of him, either Guru Rinpoche or Buddha, so they are everywhere. It's just that we ignore them, So like that, by thinking of all enlightened beings' presence, their presence, so as I always say, so they are beyond time and space. Nowadays, even scientists say all those atoms are beyond time and space, right? Two things can be in the two opposite places at the same time or whatsoever, So then if a substantial thing can happen like that, Buddha's mind is wisdom mind. It definitely can happen like that. They can be anywhere, everywhere, Don't think that, today Guru Rinpoche is invited to KPC. Guru Rinpoche cannot go anywhere, Mm-hmm. If it goes somewhere, then you would complain to Guru Rinpoche. How come I invited you as my chief guest and you are showing up somewhere in New York City? Doesn't matter. Then this is the lineage prayer. Lama Chigolo so Jimbama Junela so the vision of the Lama Longi to Jibama Junela so the vision of the vision Lama Tubicola so the Jimbama Junela so so that's praying to the 3 kayas of Lama, and in short is to think, when you are practicing, that Guru Rinpoche is completely enlightened. Your root teacher is completely enlightened. That's another way of saying, in a complex, fancy way is, they have 3 kayas. In simple way of saying it is that they are totally enlightened. Make it simple, right? Say Dharma kaya, Sambhoga kaya, Nirvana kaya. First of all, it's hard to say. Then what's that? And say everything is enlightened. So simple, Their body is enlightened. Their mind is enlightened. Their speech is enlightened. And Dongsa Khyentse says that, I cough a lot. That's why he's saying that if you really think that your Lama is enlightened, even his coughing would become a teaching for you. So that's why you pretend to cough a lot, Then this is the prayer to the 8 the Buddhas, Namo Megadera Maharaja Ye Swanam Yende Jato Teranga Shinga Sangye Menla Tuji Tohi Dungal Dunga Jizya Bendu Ye Jazal Shindu Sena Dawi Jingba Ye Yedan is a Kiwi Kio Nam Kizun Tebe Mir Ge Jinba Ga Chom de Mingil Halaso, the Surdim Cheldan Shanlatism Nilwa Kiwi to Didan Ni Ke Sente Tori Kiwara Juror Mengi Kiao de la So de Ganda Yendan Tama Duma Ye of the engine do so Talwa Da Ke Sente Bededa Temi ni mengi kebu kelu jazulu tenle serzan dimi nawa dang nyanye me cho pal dang che da dang ngen gen kebu dayang kelbo dang shaje jebo namla sowa dip jambal jambal chabdul changna doji sin tangwang che jin chagshi ke jin shi ne jin debin chenpo chungni so kil koro yongzo kil koro yongsu dola so de deshin shekba dungi melam do mengi lai do de nidang ni kenjin shi zui zebi shi ze xing maybe something wrong here. Kenjin zi de xing la de shung la soba. I think that's okay. De shung la soba. Damche legbam sola soba de bodhisa do tison de dang lobin jelun jangchu semba dang jupi lama damba tamje la chugi wangchu la sola soba de tar soba de chin lab ke ne gap ne dang chikba na zo shi. Chi zengin song jikba kunshi ni dewa chendu kewara jingi lo de la. I'm going maybe just skip this. So he's talking about all this preparation. Maybe I just read. And dilla zamna menle shel tang du shi wi chwa mende so sham pe so zo men na dinge der do chwa yi it will be chobe ji yang mi ge so la na me lu yin be den ken sha chang pang wa dang thui dang sab so zang da mi ge wen jang di di wang lung ni nge par thop ge de la me sang gi lu yin bi chir se. So one very important instruction here is saying that now generally according to the sutra teachings you have to make these offerings as grand as possible, almost emptying all the flowers in Walmart and bringing in KPC. Still not enough. And in Vajrayana, you can make it in an effective, simple way. Just visualize that, this whole KPC is filled with flowers that you don't have even 1 inch of space left where you can put your little toes. So, because according to Vajrayana, whether it is a real offering or whether it is a fake offering or whether it is a visualized offering, doesn't matter. Main thing is you're working with your mind, to let go of it, to see flower as beautiful, and then you make it as an offering. To see your chocolate, favorite chocolate, as so delicious, and yet make it as an offering. Like that is to basically to see the beauty of it and just let go in a way of making it as an offering. If you do that, see, may be difficult to train mentally, but it will save your credit cards a lot, So just to tell you a joke, because it's 12 o'clock and I feel sleepy, around 12 o'clock, especially good that you guys didn't have lunch. Otherwise, I feel extra sleepy, So in a very popular joke in Tibetan is, when you receive all these empowerments, then the Lama says, or you're having this Bumba and said, oh, you just think that you have received this empowerment from this Bumba and then all this whatnot. And there was a guy who was just sitting down there, and he thought that, I just have to think I received empowerment. So so in Tibet he had nothing, but then he was what you call that, the nomad who just have their cattle, yaks. So he had a bag of butter. So at the end of the empowerment, he also just stood up and took his bag of butter out. And then he said to the Lama, oh Lama, you just think that I'm offering this to you. And then he put back in his bag and went home. So next time you can do that. Just show it to Lama and here's your offering. one thing here, basically one important thing is visualization. Visualizing the offering is more important in the inner Tantra teachings than the actual offering. And another important thing that is made here is, so in the lower practice of the lower yanas, you have to be clean, clean, really clean, like taking saying shower even 3 times a day, changing your clothes 3 times a day, and you should be perfect, picture perfect. And with that picture perfect clothing and everything smelling so nice with best perfume, then you go in and do the meditation. That's the one. That's the lower yanas way. And then in the inner tantra's way is saying that inner cleanliness is important. If your mind is clean, mind is with all this pure view, then whether you have this, so whether you're having vegetarian or whether you had just been, just came out of the, what you call that? Where you can buy this wine and all this, what's that called? Huh? No, where you can just drink and come? Bar, yeah, that's what I was thinking. So you can do this medicine Buddha right after you have visited your favorite bar. Or eat your favorite steak and just come and do medicine Buddha. So if your heart is pure, you're saying, then it's okay. In other tantra, other techniques, you have to be clean. Especially in some, Vinaya is saying, if you have had garlic, no practice for 1 week. Not even just go to the temple. You have to rent a Airbnb somewhere. So yet it's saying that this empowerment and this transmission is important. So I guess most of you had this, medicine Buddha empowerment. So another line, this one is, what's that here, how it is being, the practice of simultaneously performing the visualization of the both self and the deity in the front of oneself in tradition of the ancients, that means the Nyingmapas. So it is not necessary to do it separately. Another, that's our Nyingmapas' unique practice way. Non-Nyingmapas have to first, you have to visualize Guru Rinpoche. Here, medicine Buddha. And after you have become medicine Buddha or pretend you have become medicine Buddha, then in front, then there's another whole set where you have to visualize one medicine Buddha in front. And how you do that is, you must have the emptiness, then there's some kind of a seed, then there's a flower, then there's the hand emblem, then there's all this radiating kind of, waking up. You're like early morning when your alarm clock, snooze or rings, you don't want to get up, so you snooze, right? So like that is kind of waking up slowly to become a medicine Buddha, But Nyingmapas does that instantaneously. So you become medicine Buddha quick. And also you do that together, the front visualization and self-visualization together, instantaneously. So that's the difference, is saying that. And it's not said by one Nyingma guy, Changme Rinpoche says that. So he's an expert in Kagyu and Nyingma. So that's a big plus for us. But yet, and all this comes up, But the problem is, if it is too quick, then you don't get it, So sometimes I feel that for the seasoned practitioner, so it should be quick, like this, But for the beginner, I think it's more. So gradually getting up is better than just waking up and run, So anyhow, it all depends on how you're doing. So I said here, so you can do it at instantaneous visualization. Then is the refuge and bodhicitta of Namkyo teaching. So these two are very important to remember yourself as a Buddhist. So you take refuge. To remember that you are a Mahayana practitioner, you generate bodhicitta. And as I have repeated many times in Namche Ngondo teachings, is saying that if you have these two, refuge and bodhicitta, and do that, then whatever you do, the practices, not only the practices, your regular job, you are driving or whatever you are doing, so you do that with bodhicitta, it will become a practice. So it's too very important to make everything into a practice, everything into virtuous. Then is blessing of the offerings. Kadalon tu vai namsa gamai che between Mendel jese lamo jese meju je Buddha ho. So you say now this whatever you are able to gather, all these offerings, is just there as a symbolic offering. But then you think that it is filling, as I said earlier, the whole space, the entire space, the entire place where you are meditating. So like that, inexhaustible. And all of them are being held by the offering goddesses and making offering to all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. So basically then trying to feel the divineness of the phenomena. And one of the best offering that you can read about is, now you guys are doing this, what's that, Purba Gurkukma, right? That short, which is very powerful, as a short practice, but very profound. So there is saying that best offering is to just, meditate on emptiness, meditate on evenness of all phenomena. That's called Mahapuja. The greatest offering that you can offer is by offering nothing. Then this for Drogun Dead and Dungal, then Delenya Metanyum Show. So four immeasurables. So four immeasurables again strengthening your motivation. Why you are doing this medicine Buddha practice is to benefit all sentient beings, motivated with these four immeasurables. So expanding your motivation. Om Sobo Shuddha Sarva Dharma Sobo Shuddha Hang. So that's saying that all phenomena are emptiness and pure. Sorry. So to meditate on emptiness, is very important in any of these visualizations. Always, either sometimes it's mentioned and sometimes it's not mentioned. If it is mentioned, it's like mentioning here as using this mantra. So just relax in the state of mind where you don't have any kind of thoughts. So that is kind of close to emptiness, even though emptiness is inexpressible. So the mimicking of emptiness that you can have just now is just remain relaxed and without much of the conceptual thoughts. So that's the best we can get, I guess, up to. Then why we are doing that is also, then if you start from ground zero, is kind of, then whatever kind of things that you can build up, then you can do it, So if you don't start from ground zero, then it's difficult to build the building that you want, So in past few months, I'm involved with renovating a church into a monastery. It's a temple. It's so difficult because there's a structure already there, and then you want to make a hole there, bring this back, here a canopy, there thing. So because the structure is already there, and you are trying to make it into change, it's so difficult to make it, It takes time, it takes the creativity, it takes what not, everything, and then but then if it's all knocked down, and then if you're able to build it the way you like it, then it will be easy. So this is what we are trying to do. When you're meditating on emptiness, you're trying to knock down everything, all of your conceptual thoughts, whatever kind of conceptual thoughts that you have, even the good thoughts, even your bodhicitta. In this case, just knock it down. Be it bodhicitta, be it Buddha. Just knock down every conceptual thoughts. Then try to build a celestial palace of medicine Buddha would be easy. Then you can be the smartest architect that you ever existed, So you can do it the way you like it. So just now, why we are not able to do that is we already have that conceptual construct built within us. It's so concrete, so to knock it down is difficult. And if you try to keep it and then try to kind of walk around it, then you don't get the desired thing that you want to build. So it's kind of same thing here. So everything into emptiness, and then from this emptiness, you're visualizing this whole celestial palace is filled, empty. In one sense, then you have the whole space just for you, with no interruption. The whole space becomes your playground. So that's what you are trying to do. And then you can do this visualization as said here. I'll just read through it. Tom be ngang le tong sum tang do bo dang do jor be nang do sangye ten la be da so so de do rang da den ge zo sa ben hun ting ga le men la ko do ben do we zer chen che ge sum ge lo ba cha ye chen aru ra dang yun nyam ja lung se sin ba ten zang ten be zo shin do ji ki dung gi shu ba ke bar do den ge gi ta ma nam la to bang la so ba sang je den dang che bu de ja la sem ba chu ro de ja lo ji den ja chu dang de ben chu ni so so ko dang che ba 고시라 개부지면 시당 제비 내숨 이게 숨당 두개 홍래 외서 트베셔 저기 산제 소스 내당 예시바 빠도 매바 젠당네 다데 남라 팀버 줄 so yes set so you're visualizing two sets of a medicine Buddha yourself and in front. And it's not just the medicine Buddha. So here it says down the medicine Buddha surrounded by the 7 other medicine Buddhas. So 8, and then you have the Dharma books, and then behind that are the 16 Bodhisattvas. So these 16 Bodhisattvas, according to I think 5th Dalai Lama is saying that they were present when Buddha taught the medicine Buddha, Buddha Sutra. So, so they are in the elaborate texts. All of them are named, and how they look, their color, and all this. So in this case, we just think. Main thing is just meditate on that medicine Buddha. And all others, as said here, the 16, the Dharma books, 16 Bodhisattvas, and then behind that is now the 12, the 10, protector of the 10 directions, and then the 12, what's that? The the chief of the worlds. All of them, you just, even though you're not able to, visualize that, you just feel that they are present. They're there. So there's a shortcut. Just think that they're there is okay. So with all this, color, shape, how they look, whether they have a mustache or whether they are bald or whether they are blonde or whether they are brunette or whether they are, funky, or doesn't matter. Just think that they are there. As I was joking earlier, just think that their energy is there in front of you. Okay, that's good enough. Then no shape, no color, right? But the energy is there. Goshi la gyabu chima shidan jebe nesum yige sumna tuge hungle wezir dan hun den the invocation hun men la cheje la zo malum ne de jende jende skal den de den la wan ju lo den si bar je sa zo nam be ga jara da sa bari war band sa maya tik da hen. So this is invocation or invitation is again when you're visualizing yourself as medicine Buddha and in front of you another medicine Buddha. So what you feel is maybe medicine Buddha is still hanging out somewhere, I'm just imagining that, but he is not paying attention to me. So he's out there somewhere on vacation. So not like just to feel, strengthen, just to reinforce the presence of any deities. And in this case, when you are doing this sadhanas, and in this case, feel the presence of medicine Buddha. In front of you, another medicine Buddha with all these groups, all these retinues, and yourself as medicine Buddha, so to feel that. So that's why this invitation is done in all these practices. Most of the practices you see that. Sometimes, like I was saying, the Purba Gurukukma says no invitation. I'm not going to print any invitation letters. I'm not going to post invitation letters. I'm not going to email invitation letters, because I know that Vajrakila is right there with me all the time, from primordial time up to now. So I don't want to invite them. So that kind of an assurance, if you have that, no invitation is required. Otherwise, you will be inviting yourself, in your own home. That's the dummiest thing that you can ever do. That's why, this Purva Gurukma, I say, is so profound. You don't want to be a dummy, you want to be smart, I know where you are. It's kind of sort of thing. Then the Samaya Tikta hand is reinforcing and stabilizing. Om Hung Tam Shri A Abhikenza Hung, Abhisheka Hung or Abhikenza Hung is again reinforcing this visualization of the medicine Buddha with the 5 seed syllables of 5 Buddha families. Then you are making these offerings. So offering, I have repeated many times, so I'm just going to go over it. Rupa Shabda Gandhira se Parshe Prati Hon Tajito Jedito Yungaso. Dagil Halacho, Tony Yonzo Dover Mangalam Argam Artha Sidi Hong Tajito Tajito Jebumbaso. Dagil Halacho, Semjin, Tony Dover Mangalam Umba Hong then the Origin. And Tocho Jebu Bumba, so Dagil Halacho, Bidazito over Mane, Hong Genizo, Dagil Halacho, Vitoni, Yonzo Doverjam, Om Radna, Mandala, Hong Dani, didn't deserve the bed. Teshi Kula Kutri Sol Hala Dima Mingaya, the dip that be Tendil Gi, Om Sarvata Dagadavi, Kika de Samaya Shire, Hong Rekarajam. Di Demba Ye Javi Kuni Chivar Gi, Haladima Mingaya, Dungal Delvi Tendil Gi. Om Om Kaya Bishudana Hong Naza de Medegave Kula. Solwar Gi Kula Silva Minga Yang Tagdan Pelvi Tendil Gi Om Banzawada So Hong Godo Pendure Rio de Toizun. So this is now, after making the offering, is the praise. So, when we were discussing the generation stage a long time ago, I don't know when was that, 1 year or 2 years, I don't remember, Yeah. So we were talking about how this generation stage is arranged. In one sense, I was talking about emptiness, as I said earlier. In another sense, is also mimicking, in one sense, then how an ordinary person is being born and gradually grows up, goes to college, then graduates, and then comes back and gets old, and then finally, rest in peace. So it's the same process now. So you have become gradually or instantaneously into whether Buddha, medicine Buddha in this case. Then like inviting a guest or you yourself as a guest. When you want to relax, then what you want to do is first have a cup of coffee or your favorite drink. So then you thought, oh, maybe medicine Buddha also needs some drink, So you're making all these offerings. Then you think, oh, today I did a good job, You praise yourself, or to the guest. So when the guest walks into your home, so you, first ask, what do you want to drink, Margarita or vodka or what else? Beer or wine, red wine, white wine. There's no blue wine, right? Black wine, brown wine. So, so that was what we are doing to medicine Buddha, trying to please him by giving, or all these different kinds of toys. You want this, you want that, you want these cookies, that cookies, and or you like it something sour or something sweet, or in between, or are you a vegan, or so after that, and then you're praising your guest. Oh, you look so good, I like your clothes. I like your perfume. I like the way your hairstyle. Then what not? No, this is now what you're trying to do. The next one. Oh, your attire is you look so, wonderful. You are the best. So this is what you're trying to say to medicine Buddha. Actually, medicine Buddha doesn't really care, But it's ourselves, thinking that. So we are working with our mind. So if you make that offering, so kind of like creating connection. And then praising, especially praising to the Buddhas is, when you praise the Buddhas, you're remembering their enlightened qualities. So when you remember their enlightened qualities, then your mind gets drawn to that. That's the whole purpose of praising. Buddhas are not like us, When someone praises me, I smile, a big smile. When someone frowns at me, then I want to punch that one guy, So for Buddhas, it's definitely not like that. So basically, is to remember their enlightened qualities. Very important. This is how our, our human psychology works. If you think that the person is good, naturally your mind is drawn to that. If you think that that person is bad, naturally your mind wants to, get out from that place as soon as possible. So that kind of property of our mind, or if I can say, the weakness of our mind, or that kind of the mind. So you are trying to use that in a way of praising the medicine Buddha. So when you praise medicine Buddha, you know his enlightened qualities, and when you know his enlightened qualities, then it's like you are drawn to it. Almost like thinking of your favorite food, your mouth is being watered, stimulated by that, and then you want to have a grab of that your food. In the same way, when you think that how perfect the medicine Buddha is, how enlightened his body is, how enlightened his mind is, how enlightened his speech is, how enlightened his activities is, So you just want to have a bite of him, You want to really want that. That kind of a feeling we should to develop that. Then we are doing these praises. Okay. Somehow when I teach in KPC, I want to teach it joyfully, Maybe because most of these phases I'm so familiar with it, so with you guys. So if I say something wrong, also you'll be able to take it. But when I go to other centers, when I look around, I know this person, I don't know this person, I know this person, I don't know this person, and then I just teach it in a traditional way because I don't know what they will be thinking. I don't know what I will be getting after that, So I have to be very careful. Here I try to be a little bit of carefree. And sometimes if I'm too carefree, I'll be in big problem, I guess. So don't take it too seriously, okay? So that kind of feeling, the energy in KPC is good. So knowing that, so that's why when you are doing these long life prayers of the lamas, so these are all the qualities of the lamas, and then all the prayers. So in that way, this is how you should remember Medicine Buddha. This is how you should remember your lamas, not just the physical appearance, Physical appearance is good, but kind of see it just as the door to remember their enlightened qualities. So now we are praising Medicine Buddha. Gundo bendo rio da do samje negi dunga janjo samje ke korge kor rinje menzen lala chakde de zenle da serzan nyane me chenda jazo chelo shakcho shakcha tup dambi che dan semba chu do so konjo rinjen somla chakde do changdang ja jin je jin chokjong chu ne jin de bin chung ni yo dan je Min mengi reason dang song che tu che mengi la la cha ze de. So then here one important thing is here the 12 chieftains and their sages, both divine and human, who possess the knowledge of medicine. Again, a very important statement. Why it is so is now we may think that whoever be the first one to start, let's say, the traditional medicine or contemporary medicine, the antibiotics or all these vitamins or whatsoever we are using. So as a medicine Buddha practitioner, we must see that it is the enlightened activity of the medicine Buddha. Comes in the form of your doctors, your nurses, or all those pharmaceuticals that people complain, So that's something very important, and I'm not making up. It's said here, see, who both divine and human who possess the knowledge of medicine. So it's a blessing of the medicine Buddha. Then you meet what pop up in my, monkey mind is instantaneously. In that case, why didn't medicine Buddha create hip surgery, knee replacement 100 years ago, right? He was just saying, oh, wait, if you want to have a knee replacement, you come in 21st century. if you're born in 10th century, and also you bear with it. So anyhow, think that any kind of healing effect, whether it be the healing of your mind or whether it be the healing of through the substance medicines that you're using, so is the blessing, is the enlightened activity of the medicine Buddha. So not trying to separate, in that case, divine as something up there, mundane is something down there. So not like that. So in this mandala, you are putting anyone who has that, ability to heal, who has that wish to heal others. So you're putting them, everything in one mandala. So this last line is very, very important. So next time when you go to see your doctor, you see him as medicine Buddha, not as someone who is being paid by your insurance company, Then you'll have double effect. You get double shots. Dao dingi tuke hungle ngagi tengwa korwara juru whether kato not so but Sharjo Bendu Nawe Shinkam ne Lam Chene Tu Ju Go Delet Menla Kuji Chejung Sum Ngal Ting Tu Chagden Aru Rai Tong Ze Titi Kangwa Chartar Babe Randam Tingela Sibar Timber Jurur Migba La Teta Ombega de Mabezrata Samunga de Soa Ha She Chinis Dene Jutu Ai or Gaga Ganga Dona Shaka Sa Chambander Sato Samai Manubala Sudogama Noradamo Sugama Sarva City, Membrane, the Sarvakarma Shirim, Kruha, Bagavan Sarvata, the Rida, Benzer, Mamim, the Medabama, Samaya Sato, Omi, Dharma, to Bravo, hidden the highway, the day of the University of Badima Sharman, so home, Medaduman Meda Shelze. Romo Lasso was with the Diraja Che, Tagi, Hala Cheba Bitaja, Tony to over a show. So again, why we are making this offering is so may we perfect the two accumulations. One reason. And how you can do that simultaneously is you make the best of the best offering, the most beautiful flower arrangement that you can ever have. Looks like Japanese are the best, right? So you hired the best Japanese florists to come here and arrange your flowers. And you appreciate the beauty of it. At the same time, you see it as a garbage. Means emptiness, That's nothing. So that's how you can accumulate, two accumulations at the same time. As beautiful as possible, but it's yet a garbage. It's yet empty. Beautiful, but empty. So that's something, again, we need to remind us again and again. Because when we see the beauty of it, we forget that it is illusion. It is emptiness. So, that's why I say that this vajra is used, the indestructible flower. So flower itself is not indestructible flower. You cannot buy an indestructible vajra flower, unless you are super rich. Then you can buy the whole the diamond industry and make a vajra flower. But what it really means is flower is so beautiful, but yet is empty. Then it becomes the vajra flower, because emptiness is unchanging. So that's why in our teachings always saying that you have to have bodhicitta all the time, anytime you are practicing, and emptiness all the time. As much as possible, try to remind yourself about emptiness, thinking that to whom you are offering, what you are offering, and you making the offering ultimately is empty in nature. I forget that a lot, I just remember when I teach. And good thing about this teaching tour is if I don't have to teach medicine Buddha, I would have never opened that, Dalai Lama's medicine Buddha practice. Because I'm lazy, why open that? Now when I was told, I have to teach medicine Buddhas, then I just downloaded it. And waited for some time. Only last night I was trying to what you call that? Cash cross, right? Trash, when you do some, not cramp. When you train someone quickly, how to say that? Crash course. So I had a crash course of medicine Buddha yesterday evening. So that at least when I'm on this throne, I may sound like a Khenpo, So I'm baby the Shabda Rupa Shabda Gandaras Parashita did so Hong Buddha Bendu Yerio do Simjinegi Dungasal Changju Samba Jeki Korgi Koror Rinchen Menzin Lala Chazel de Dik to Kunsha Gewa Changchu Mo De Nedin Dungal Delvita Shi Shoje. So here again, Nyingmapa's way, easy, effective, but just one word. So see, what you're doing in this word, I confess, actually all sins and failing, diktung kunsha. I gewa kun langos, dedicate the merit towards enlightened beings. So in the translation is made a little bit lengthy, kind of maybe. But in Tibetan it's so easy, just saying that, I'm going to confess and I'm going to dedicate. Kind of. Nedin dongal shivita shi sho jombanda sadhu sama, okay, this is Nigeria. Then the talk, maybe we can do in this way, I'm not sure how the talk offering is done traditionally. I have to check some of the medicine Buddha practices and see how it is being done. But as in the very beginning, as Changme Rinpoche said, and in his compilation, I think there's no talk offering. You just go straight to dedication and then you're done. Then if you want to add talk offering, maybe it is okay, it's doable, but traditionally looks like instead of doing talk offering, in this case, mostly is done. Why we are doing talk offering is to accumulate merit. And way of accumulating merit, there are millions of ways, trillions of ways. And in traditional medicine, Buddha talk would be, repeating the 7-branch prayer. I would think that way. Because I just read that in the beginning you do one 7-line prayer, and then you with each of the medicine Buddha. So each medicine Buddha you are making one 7-branch offering and like that. So for the accumulation of the merit, then looks like you do 7-branch prayer as the main practice, because that is being taught in the sutra and the teachings. Anyhow, then the talk offering is so that the vision so that the Manda given you the bow and the longe took each over the Madame Yamasha. Chinamber Chichuki so to how Doroshella, Tinley towards the Guru Deva Dagan, and was the Balin. Canada Buddha Utita Balinta Kai Kata change of Gomala and the Kundo to Jekama Samich. Take word in Guru Sharvi to them Kang, so the Togi Chuba gender roll all la ho. Okay. Okay, so here's a very simple. Is there a time limit or? Okay. I'm hungry. Looks like some. So
49 is and 49 picks back up to the practice.
Okay. Um, okay, so here at the end, or if you have books on page 33, so not that one, not the opening prayers. So anyhow, it's okay. So this is how you eat, partake tsok offering. So in this translation, it's saying, now we enjoy the tsok. Very nice, right? But literal translation is tsogi choba, gender roles. It's a very important, I think, short but very important. And this is what I guess, you need to understand when you eat tsok offering. It's not just like, oh, when I look at the plate, I look first at which one is nice, which one I like, or maybe this one has more sugar, this one maybe not, and then you eat it. It's not like that, So basically the tsok offering, so there is a grand way of explaining how to eat this tsok offering, So first of all, just to make it simplified, in this case, you yourself as medicine Buddha or any of the deities. So think in that way. And then when you're taking this tsok offering, it's saying that this tsok offering is the ornament. Enjoy it as the ornament. So direct, the only word to use is, and then in the beginning is saying as the what's that? Ornaments of the play of primordial wisdom. So that is so ornament of the play of primordial wisdom. So my understanding is then in that case, what you're trying to see is now see everything as pure. And when you eat the tsok or any kind of food, then we think that, oh, it's my desire, right? Then when you see your favorite chocolate on the tsok plate, your mouth is watering, and then you want to grab it, any moment. You cannot even wait until Chopin says, come and give you. So that is then in that case your desire is popping up, and that's not good for you, right? This is what we are told. But in this case, when you see yourself as a deity, then all this you see as the ornament of the wisdom. That means everything that you take, it becomes a booster of your wisdom mind instead of becoming an obstacle. So it enhances, So that's kind of a little bit tantric way of seeing, instead of seeing the senses, sense object as an obstacle. Usually in the Sutrayana, it says sense objects are all obstacles. They are all bad for you. They will never ever make you enlightened, But in Vajrayana, we have to change that a little bit, At least on the cushion, I say that, see that, oh, these sense objects are there. But then if you know how to use it, instead of becoming an obstacle, it will become an ornament of my path. So the desire is, that's why he's saying that desire itself is taken as a path. So you'll be, munching, what you call that, your favorite chocolate, but you'll be still on the path. You'll be drinking your favorite wine, but you'll be still on your path, if you're really able to do that. But the chances are to slip on the negative side is it's almost like what you guys say, walking on the edge of a sword, So that's why people don't even talk about it. So anyhow, that's something that you just see everything as pure, just see that everything is just the display of that primordial wisdom, and partake it. And when you take it also, you're taking that you are like any kind of eating in one sense. Is saying even the clothes that you wear. So in the early morning, if you can, with that mindfulness, thinking that, oh, you have all these deities in you. So you, right from the bathing, right from brushing, all the way you can make it into a practice. And then, like, I'm offering to the deities of my, that live, that resides in me. And then whatever you drink, whatever you eat, you're offering it to the deity within you, to the divine nature within you. And if you think in that way, so everything becomes a path. That's why Vajrayana becomes a crazy wisdom sometimes, no? But don't be too crazy; it will become just the, just a little bit of craziness is okay. But overwhelmingly crazy, then you may land up somewhere, So gender roles. Then how you say is la la ho. I'm going to enjoy it to the best you can. La la ho is the wondrous thing, the best of the best. I'm going to partake it. So. This one maybe I don't need to know all these long life prayers. Okay, appendage wing Dik Dong Gunsha Gyogan, Chini Suda Shin, Serapkin, Didon, Dodon Day, Roma Gizon, Dik Dong Shao Ji, then Banam Rane, Benzer Mont. So now is the dissolution part, the prayer of departure, yes, or dissolution. Jigden Banam Rane, Benzer Mont, the worldly beings return to their places, because their families are waiting for them. So you send them to their families. And the wisdom deities, they have no families. They are homeless. So you just keep it, The deities of the wisdom and samaya absorbs into one. The yeshi tam siklanam dala tim. So so whatever you are generating, and then the wisdom deity, you just dissolves in you and meditate on emptiness. Dissolves into me. Kada kunzang londo yema ho, in the primordial pure domain. How wonderful! So it to remain in that meditative state for some time. And then he's talking about the benefit. Maybe I just read it. Shepade yang gong der surjin nam che nit ni du de raga ase ti ba la kalwa china hala shaoshin. Kewe semjen tamje nele tar de nyudu menle kofan tobara jurchi do cho la tuso te na ye jang de le toit nal jurchu la jutu yebe Miguel lo de la choga de la tu dam jena pe ni. So these are the benefits. So if you have this book, you can read it later on. Zunba yina tsudu minyamba dangal de nyamba shi yin jang de tiba tamjen jang ne ngin song du mitung wa dang nyal wa dang yida dang tu du kewe lengen tamjen dang ne terer mi ke kal de ke jang de ma tang tu tar ne de do tori cho du ke shing rim gi sanje toba dang tse der yang se ge cho se ge tsok me bar jurwa tsek me bar jorwa dang ne ba dang che ka dang gelbu che ba la so ne mitsu ba dang cha na do je dang chang ba dang ja jin dang gelbu chenbo shi dang nyu jin ge de ben chenbo chung ni yo dun bum dang je be song sing jo bar ze de. So another joke just popped up when I read this. So then you'll have your personal bodyguards. So here he's saying, then all those, Brahma, Indra will be your personal bodyguards. You don't have to pay them, And then all this, the 12 great chiefs of these Nujin, the spirits, and not only one, each of them with 700,000 ADs. So lots of them will be, you'll be completely protected. So, do you mind that you job je dang Dang Tenzin La so never Tamjen le Tarshing. Samba Tamje Yonsu Zober Jeber Juro, Jeba Menjo Do Din la Pen, some give me Sheba Sungsing. Chu Pel Cher La Jun Do Shing Gu Ka Wa Kebi Jasa Chemboja. Ngam ring bell chekoro de la so cheni ge daba thamje ne sunbe kurim dang shin bu tip jong la men la ma do shin choga midar sing be yo dorje den hasa joy dun dang samye changchu chembe dun changchu chembe dun du dang ju choga yang men le choga yin de dar ka sang 가서니 동아 강라 양 면라 왜 연된 제와 매배 이 제벌기 제. So saying that this medicine Buddha is very powerful and it is in both the sutras and tantras. Tela je du mangyang deni tsik nyong la den tuba la me lu yimbe zangda mege di ni di it tul yimbe tor che me jang chokba kungi nyamsu longshi. So in this case he's saying that it's okay if you don't have the tormas and all this, you can just do that through visualization. So Namche is in one sense very easy. He says you don't need any torma, you don't need any kill course, just you need to practice. Okay, so that's it. So all these benefits, looks overwhelming. And how you can enjoy, how you can experience all of them, it entirely depends on how much of, as I was saying in the beginning, how much of devotion that you had, how much of confidence that you had to yourself, to the teaching, to the karma. So depending on that, then you receive the blessings. It's not like Buddhas are being unfair, or this is my chosen one, I should bless this, or this one doesn't look that good, I'm not going to bless that. Buddhas their compassion is not like that, not bias. It's just the receptive nature of us. I nowadays use our, the smartphone as example. 3G or 4G is up there circulating everywhere. Now talking about 5G. So the signals are there, but if you don't buy a smartphone, then all those signals are useless, right? They will be there transmitting all the way. Now I was told that 5G will be transmitted globally. Even the Amazon forest would have that, If you take your gadget, you'll be right in the middle of Amazon forest and still be able to chat with, use your Instagram with your snapshots, Facebook and whatnot. But if you forget to bring your, phone, then it's useless. Same thing with the blessings. So if you don't have your devotion, then all the blessings that are there, all, you'll not be able to receive that, sink into you. And like that, depending upon the smartness of your phone, right? Then your ability to play with it, or your ability to use that this connection depends on the smartness of your phone. In the same way, then how you are able to take in the blessings of the Buddha depends on how much of your devotion that you have. I sometimes feel that Buddha is so smart, very smart. Because if something fails, he'll always blame you, say that, oh, I gave you 5G, but your gadget is only 2G. So how can you expect your 2G to work with my 5G internet, right? So he blames us. So very smart. That's why we don't have Buddhist apologists, because he divided all his teachings into definitive meaning and a provisional meaning. So some things doesn't make sense to you, you say, oh, it's provisional meaning, You put it in a garbage. If it makes sense to you, then you think, oh, it's definitive meaning, it's so nice. So very smart, right? The smartest guy. But very mean, Because he doesn't let us do what you like. Because up to now, we are in samsara because we did what we like, And then what we like was just temporarily. We were just, what you guys say is we didn't have a big picture. Mostly we were looking for instant gratification. That looks like a big flaw in human consciousness. That's why we have this, drive-through coffee, super fast food, then Uber Eat, and what else, So it's something instant. Of course, that's why, sometimes when I watch soccer on my gadgets, so the whole stadium is filled with people, and all of them so interested. Nobody is falling asleep, You cannot find even one guy sleeping in that big auditorium. But in Dharma teachings, maybe half of them are dozing. First of all, we are just about a handful, and half of the handful is sleeping. And quarter of it is kind of like, in that jumbo, limbo mode. And a few of them are maybe smart, alert. So all these are something. Because as a human being, we are so much drawn to our senses. I usually say that, we have these 5 senses, which is looking outward, looking for instant gratification. We have only one sense, the 6th sense, the mind, which is looking for a perpetual gratification. And then people looking for that perpetual gratification is very rare. That's why I'm trying to say that you guys are the rarest of the rarest of the rarest human being ever walked on this planet. Thank you. Khenpo looks sleepy.
That's not new.
That's not. Your face says so. Okay. You want any questions or just conclude? Okay, I'll take 3 questions. One for Buddha, one for Dharma, one for Sangha.
So we'd like to get the questions on mic because there are people listening online. Question.
Oh, I didn't know that somewhere online, no?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone? Yes.
Okay. Short question. What is the mantra of the Medicine Buddha, the essential mantra that we would use for practice?
Om Behade Behade Maha Behade Radha Samungate Soha.
That was kind of fast.
It's here. You can take this book Okay, and then write it down afterwards when you come. Yeah.
Thank you, Khenpo. So you told a lot of funny stories, and a funny story about you meeting Allah or Muhammad. This is a little bit shocked my mind. In the beginning of the teaching, you were saying something about Buddhism and other religions, same, different, and then I kind of lost the point in there somewhere. I was like, this is a good story, but I kind of missed it, I think. Does that make sense? I missed it. I missed the importance of it.
I don't know what you missed, Okay, so basically, I was trying to say is sometimes, I don't know, maybe I was paying too much of attention or whatever, so I had that kind of an feeling. And so I don't know, looks like I'm also lost. So basically, such things can happen, That's what our teachings is saying, that sometimes there can be misleading experiences. You have to be careful. Okay, the last one. Anyas are not allowed to ask questions.
Okay. Thank you, Khenpo. Sometimes we do the medicine Buddha practice here, the Namcho, and sometimes we do the Organ Menla. Can you speak briefly about the difference or why there is Organ Menla?
What's that? So why you're doing medicine Buddha sometimes, and why sometimes you do Ujin Menla? So they are same, same. And I was saying earlier, sometimes people want to practice nothing but Guru Rinpoche. Not even medicine Buddha, So, then what happened is Guru Rinpoche appeared as Ujin Menla. That's one way of looking at it. And another way of looking at it is when we're saying, praising to Guru Rinpoche, you are saying that you are the Buddha of 3 times. That means every Buddha that have ever existed, every Buddha that will be coming up in future, including you, is present in Guru Rinpoche. So Guru Rinpoche has that healing power, exactly the same way as the medicine Buddha. So or with that understanding, then you sometimes do Guru Rinpoche in the form of medicine Buddha, and sometimes, to make your self enriched with with spiritual or worldly wealth, then you have, Guru Rinpoche as Zambala, Guru Rinpoche as Manjushri. Then Guru Rinpoche has all these different, manifestations. So it's basically to say that Guru Rinpoche is the 3, Buddhas of 3 times. So if you pray to Guru Rinpoche for healing, you'll get it. If you pray for anything, so Guru Rinpoche is there, the wish-fulfilling jewel. Okay, so that's it. Then, just to conclude, so... No. Okay.
Not a question, but it's a practice I've been doing for yesterday. It's in the Nyawa reading, but we get empowerment from our teacher. It's not like a ceremonial teaching. It's like a
Yeah.
in a house. So I don't know if it's a different way or same way. I like to recite that.
Okay. So.
Just correct me if I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Om Namo Namo Bhagavate Vaisarje Vaisarje Mahavaiserje Su Vaisarje Param Vaisarje Raja Samudgate Swaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vaisarje Vaisarje Mahavaiserje Su Vaisarje Param Vaisarje Swaha. Om Namo Vaisarje Vaisarje Mahavaiserje Su Vaisarje Param Vaisarje Raja Samudgate Swaha. Vaisarje Raja Namano Tathagatam Muniswara Sarva Raja Dukha Antar Sarva Roga Dukha Antar Vaisarje Namo Namami Ham. That means the healer of the disease, I pray to you and heal the inner disease and outer disease too. So from my body, speech and mind unified under the influence of delusion, kaya vak chitta, raga dvesa moha, and kama krodha lobha.
Mm-hmm.
So these are the obstacles for us to having cyclic existence because of the raga, dvesa and moha.
Raga is desire, right?
Yeah.
Dvesa is what?
Dvesa is a attachment.
Mm-hmm.
Raga, dvesa, moha, kama, krodha, lobha. It's a raga.
Five poisons. Mm-hmm.
Raga, dvesa, moha, kama, krodha, lobha.
Basically, five poisons, right?
Poisons, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, whatever you said, even though I don't understand Sanskrit, and one of the kind of Tibetan way of pronouncing Sanskrit is really Tibetanized, as he was, you can hear the difference. So anyhow, then Vajrayana was practiced very secretly in India and in Tibet. In Nepal. Very secret. Even nowadays, as he was saying, and then one of what Dongsa Khenpo Rinpoche says is he wanted to learn that Shiva Tantra, and he found a good master famous for it in Varanasi. You can listen to that on YouTube. And what he says is very interesting. He went to that master and asked him, give me the Shiva Tantra. I want to know. The Shiva Tantra, that looks like black Tantra or white, all this. No? Then what the master said is, okay, I'll teach you. But for 3 years, you have to come and do my house chores. Clean my utensils. And he was very surprised. He said, that's how it should be in the Vajrayana. And he said that if he accepted to teach him, he's saying that, he would have made a fortune from him, But he denied that. So this is how even the outer Tantra and the inner Tantra was practiced in India and Nepal, or even still being practiced, given to only the close students. And that too, really following that minimum of 3 years of investigation, whether you're there just to do your doctorate degree or whether you're there to really practice, and then checking. So this is how it was given in practiced. And that's how it should be. And at the same time, there are histories in India also that the Vajrayana was practiced in a mosque. It's not according to Buddhist Tibetan histories is saying that there was a king, and then sometimes the whole kingdom were practicing Vajrayana. That too is possible. Anyhow, that kind of exclusiveness is essential to maintain the purity of the lineage. And then when Vajrayana came to Tibet, what happened was Guru Rinpoche was a little bit of lenient. And it looks like, according to, the history, to my speculation is when Guru Rinpoche was teaching in Tibet, he gave like general teaching to the people, and then to selected ones, he gave the outer tantra teachings look like, and to the really the inner circles, let's put it as inner circle. So he was teaching the Vajrayana. But later on, then during this, especially afterwards, what happened was now in Tibet, the Vajrayana became more and more open. And actually all those tankas, they, especially the tankas with, exoteric tankas were so exclusive that in, outside Tibet, it was to be seen only by those who are initiated. But in Tibet, it was the mural of the whole temple. So it became more and more exposed. So to that reason, I now I feel that there are two reasons. One reason is to create a connection. So whoever is there, see the Tanka, receive this, and try to practice it, is still practicing Vajrayana too, and creating a connection to this Vajrayana. So it's kind of, you are going beyond the boundary with anticipation, with an hope that that kind of connection will make you gradually into a good Vajrayana practitioner. So it's kind of like that, if you select to teach the 5 best students, and then there's another guy who's, let's put it now, what I like to say is now, conservatives. So all those conservative guys, they want to teach only these 5 guys and no other else, because the others are not qualified, they cannot take it, so I'm not going to teach. I'm going to teach these 5 selected, the best of the best, the Navy SEALs. Then we have that, what you call the progressive, Oh, you don't know, these 5 people, the 5 people, maybe then they will die within 5 years or whatever. So let me put it just everywhere, just throw it to 100 people. And of this 100, if there are 10 of them, coming up as the best practitioners, then the choosing 5 and choosing 100, what happened was the outcome was different. 5, you have hope only for 5 to get enlightened. If you teach this to 100, so there is a possibility of, let me put it as, going beyond 5. There will be 6, 7, 10. If you're lucky, all 100 will get enlightened. So that's one of the reasons. Then another reason that I like to point out is what Dilgo Khyentse Rinpoche, one of the greatest master ever lived during our times, I sometimes think that all these masters, they didn't know how to come to this world, When Dujum Rinpoche was there, Dilgo Khyentse Rinpoche, Peno Rinpoche was there, then all these great masters came at a time, They should have come when one goes, the other should come. And then when one is gone, the other should come. they didn't plan properly. That's my complaint, you know. Then when they are not here, a guy like me has to pretend that I know something and teach you back. So what Dilu Khyentse Rinpoche said was a very interesting thing that I heard from one of his students. So he said that he was giving these teachings, you know. He was a person who was there, open, as instructed by his teacher, that you cannot say no to a Dharma request. That was the instruction given to him by his teacher. So he was there on the seat 24 hours, and whoever came to request him any kinds of teaching, he just gave it. He didn't even care whether that person is qualified, not qualified, semi-qualified, or that person is good, that person is bad, or that background checkup. So there was no background checkup. He was selling that weapon of mass destruction to everyone. Giving. Sorry, let's put it as giving. Then one of his the student asked, why you are doing that, Then he said, basically it means secret jhana, right? So if you don't understand, if it is open, it will be secret forever. Very, very profound, line. So I feel that same way, when especially receiving empowerments from the high lamas. And then, we are hoping that there will be some kind of pit instructions, and then wait for years and years and years and years, and then maybe finally you'll find out, oh, that was introduced to you long time ago, You just ignored that and finally hoping for it, that kind of things can happen. So, that kind of a secrecy. So then that's the excuse, or I would say that Vajrayana apologist would say that it is not it opens the door to everyone for one reason, to create connection, whether it be a good connection or so-and-so connection, it doesn't matter. And then it will remain secret to you no matter what. It's not just closing the door, Closing the physical door is easy, or opening the physical door is easy. Opening the door in your heart is so difficult, Yeah. I was trying to open this for 3-4 decades now, and still I cannot open it, It's so stubborn. It's made out of the worst material that ever existed, or the best material that is ever existed. The secret code is very difficult, There's no hackers can hack in and then get in all those blessings. So in that way, 2 ways. To create connection, and then those who get it will get it. Those who don't get it, you still create some connections. Okay, now let's... Okay, one short thing. So thank you all for, coming to this weekend, and I was also kind of happy. And as always, through the blessing of our teachers, His Holiness Peno Rinpoche, and then, our Jejunma, and all of you, to keep Dharma. I've been here for some time, and be able to know you guys a little bit, peep in you. Yeah. So to teach Dharma in the West, to maintain the Sangha, to keep all of them in harmony, it really needs a magic, It was not like that long time ago. We don't know the history, but people say they are so harmonious and everything is so nice, so good. So we Buddhists still trying to do these profound teachings, and practicing and keeping moving on is something very miraculous, and then we must try to use it to the best you can, doing whatever you can to do the practices. Very, very important. That's the only way to please yourself, please your Lama, make the environment. Where Buddhist environment activists are not like someone going there shouting everywhere and all this. Is within us. If you change, the environment will change. If you don't change, environment will not change. Likewise, all these things. So in that way, trying to keep this, practicing it, is something that is very precious. That's something that you should hold, very rare. When something is given to you openly, that doesn't mean that it's not rare, it's not precious, as I just said earlier. So knowing that it is precious, it is rare, so try to, practice to the best you can. And then with all these supports, and now Khenpo Pema is here to teach you guys, young energy, young wisdom. I was joking with yesterday when someone took me to dinner. So in the electronic world, looks like they want to recruit the young graduates with young knowledge, right? Because they are cheap, they are efficient. So you have Khenpo Pema, who is cheap, who is efficient, who is smart, who is all around, who knows many things. I just pretend to know. I don't know anything, Just being old doesn't mean that you are an expert, So when he's there, then try to learn, try to learn, practice in terms of philosophy, in terms of ritual. So, and something very important, the ritual also. As a Vajrayana practitioner, you cannot go without rituals. So all these things. So when the conditions are there, maybe we need to use it, And then in that way, then we hope that then when he, when he's being used more, then he'll be staying here more. Then if he's not being used, then it's like an, used tire that you have to just throw it somewhere. So try to using it, making it more and more. So in that way, it will be benefited for Dharma, benefiting you all, and so that will serve a greater purpose, definitely. So anyhow, let's all, no matter what happens, keep on practicing Dharma. Thank you.